Now, some people will tell you the martial art assassin without the Mosaic Claw isn't even viable. But I gotta tell you, in my opinion, I just disagree. Now, this is a build guide and showcase, but I'm going to be perfectly honest. I'm not 100% the best authority on a martial art assassin, but I threw this build together here. I got some pretty dang good gear, and I did a little bit of research into how exactly some of these skills work and which one I think is going to be best. So we're taking a look at today exactly how I got this together. You can see exactly how it works, and you can decide, hey, how good is the martial art assassin without Mosaic? I think it's pretty dang good. Viable? Definitely. I'll take a look at the stats page first. Of course, this is one where you want just enough strength and dex to wear your gear, but you need to make sure these are a little bit up there so you can wear a few pieces that I have on. So I got the strength up to 190 and the dex up to 130. So those are a bit higher than you need on other characters, but not too much of an issue. We still dumped all the rest into vitality, and we got 460 vitality, which after battle orders is a perfectly acceptable amount there. The resistances down here are not quite capped. You can go ahead and swap around a few pieces, and it's quite simple to go ahead and get these capped out if you wanted to. You can go ahead and take a look at the advanced stat page. The one thing that disappoints me, and maybe if I was using this out there to Holy Grail or something, I would want to get this number higher, but we only have 89 magic find. Big mega double oof. So for me, I really want that number to be higher, but I decided to make this build in this build guide and showcase with the maximum damage because I feel like this is how most people would probably want to go ahead and do it. You can go ahead and take a look at all this other stuff as I scroll down here and pause at any point if there's something you want to go ahead and take a look at. Now, on the martial arts, this is where quite a few points are going, but not as many as you kind of think. But Tiger Strike's maxed out because we want that third charge with the 2,460% to actual damage. And that's to the physical damage, which I'll explain in a minute. And we went ahead and maxed out Dragon Tail. So, of course, this does 770% extra fire damage, that is. So that comes from the actual Dragon Tail hit. Now, one thing that doesn't sound right, but I read it everywhere, tested it out, swapped the gear out to kind of get my physical damage higher. And actually, if you get the physical damage higher, your fire damage from Dragon Tail will actually go up a ton, a crazy amount. Now, the way this actually works is what the game does first is you deal out your physical damage from when you do this kick. And then it takes that physical damage number, and then it adds in the 770% fire damage, and then boom, the fire damage goes ahead and hits the monster. So if you get more physical damage, that goes into the calculation up here for the 2,000 whatever extra damage, and then it goes into the next part of the calculation for the 700% fire damage. So actually, if you hit this Dragon Tail on a physical immune, the physical damage will be 0, so you'll do no damage. So then you'll deal no fire damage as well. So even though it is a fire damage skill, you almost have two different immunities you kind of got to watch out for. So it's going to limit slightly without using 1 or 2 Sunder Charms where you can actually go ahead and use this. And you definitely could go ahead and use the Sunder Charms. I decided to not. I like taking a build and using it in an area where it works good. And that's exactly what I'm going to do. So because of this, you actually want to go ahead and use different pieces of gear that boost up your physical damage. Things like Crushing Blow, and you would think Deadly Strike, but actually Deadly Strike doesn't work with kicks, which is Dragon Tail. So Crushing Blow is going to be a very important one you want to go ahead and get. And of course, you got the damage from the kick and other things that give you, enhanced damage. Now over on the Shadow Disciplines, I pretty much use Burst of Speed all of the time. So I went ahead and maxed that out, get the attack speed up, run, walk, and we go ahead and get the max duration. Now I'm not using Enigma, so I'm not teleporting, so getting the walk run, super important to me. I do get 1 down in the Fade. A lot of people like using Fade, but my resistances are almost capped. And they're very easily capped, in fact, with just ever so slight gear changes if you really wanted them. So I don't know why you'd want to ever go ahead and completely max out Fade. I guess so that the Conviction Aura on occasional unique monsters and stuff don't take you down under the maximum res, I guess. You can do that. It's up to you. I'm going to be honest. I did start to run out of places where I thought the points could actually help me. So maybe if you want to go ahead and max out or put more points in the Fade, you can do that. But we went ahead and actually what I did is I went down and put any remaining points I had at this point put into Shadow Master, so it's just kind of a little extra helper to come around, distract monsters from just attacking me, and deal ever so slightly extra damage, I suppose. I did go ahead and get the 1 point wonder down into Mind Blast. A lot of people like using Mind Blast, so I figured I'd go ahead and get the 1 point down there because a lot of people go ahead and like to use it. Hopping over to the traps, I actually do put some points over here, and this is like a very minimal benefit to you, but like I said, I was running out of places where I thought the points would really help me out on this build. So I actually maxed out Blade Shield here. Now, it doesn't do a ton of damage. It's 210 to 244. It's not that much, but when these do hit, they do leech a slight amount of life as they're spinning around, hitting people, a slight amount of life and mana. So you can go ahead and just take those points if you really wanted to, put them over into Fade if that's more of what you would want to do. But like I said, I literally never use Fade personally. I will mention also later in the example gameplay, I was actually not using this on accident. So just keep that in mind. It was my mistake. Now the gear pieces. Now I went ahead and went with an absolute classic here, and we got Bartuk's Cutthroat, 2 assassin skills, and the martial arts skills. You got a ton of other things on there. Dex and strength. I mean, you can go ahead and read it right there. I wanted to use it just so I go ahead and actually had a claw that we're going to go ahead and use. You can use other items. One thing to note, I did say something about damage. You can't actually get the damage from the grief to transfer over to the kick. The flat damage doesn't work that way, unfortunately, but it does not, of course. Of course it doesn't. So I went the Bartuk's Claw. There's going to be rare claws and stuff like that, and a ton of other options you can go ahead and put over here. Over on the shield, I actually went with Phoenix. Another common option that people probably like to use is a Storm Shield over here for the survivability, but you know, I don't think I really needed any more survivability, so I went ahead and get the minus fire res because we end up with the fire damage after the full calculation, physical, then over to fire. So then you go ahead and minus the fire res, and it will increase the damage. Also, the redemption aura. Go ahead and keep your mana and your life up. Now on the helmet, because Crushing Blow does work, Deadly Strike does not, but the Crushing Blow on the G-Face does. We get the strength, we get the all res because I stuck an Umrune in it, so that's the way I went with that. On the armor, I went ahead and put Fortitude because we got the enhanced damage right there, and all the other stuff that's on the Fortitude, the res and the life and all that good stuff. Over on the gloves, you probably definitely want to go with some rare pair that's like a 220 martial art or something, but if you don't have any of those around, which I didn't happen to be able to get my hands on, I just got some increased attack speed here for the laying of hands. And unfortunately, from my understanding, if I remember reading this correctly, the damage to demons does not work with that dragon tail, unfortunately. So it's funny how some of the things work and some of the things don't. On the rings, Raven Frost, we go ahead and get the Canopy Frozen. Any melee character, you have to go ahead and get yourself Canopy Frozen, or you'll be moving in mud. And we have a rare ring over here. A ton of other options you could throw on a BK or something like that too. On the belt, I went ahead and stuck with Arachnid's Mesh because I was using a different armor, Enigma, to teleport out to the places I was going. But I decided to go with the Fortitude for the extra damage and just went ahead and left this on. It's not going to be a huge deal either way, but you could go ahead and throw on, probably for most melee characters, String of Ears, Verdungo, whichever one's your favorite choice or whatever. They're also easier to get your hands on and cheaper to trade for than Arachnid's Mesh, so probably go with one of those. Now, the boots are going to be a semi-important option. I decided to go with Shadow Dancers. They're already the Myrmidon Greaves, and if I'm not mistaken, the kick damage on this is actually the max you can get on one of these. The Myrmidon Greaves, I mean, are the maximum damage that you could go ahead and get on a base boot, I think. Another great option is actually upgraded Gore Riders, because they upgrade to Myrmidon Greaves, and then they actually have some Crushing Blow on them as well. So they're probably a better option, but I went ahead and went with Shadow Dancers because they're actually an item for the Assassin, so I went ahead and plugged those in. Over on the offhand, of course, like any character, Cult Arms and a Spirit, so to go ahead and keep your life up and for you and your Mercenary. We got all martial arts skillers across the bottom here. Agids, of course. MF charms, because I needed the MF to get a little bit higher. I couldn't have like 50 Magic Find, right? So we got to get it a little bit higher. And majority of our Magic Finds coming from these few charms down in our inventory. And of course, a Torch and Annie. Get your hands on those if you can. Now for the Mercenary over here, my thought is I'd go with the Might Mercenary because it increases your damage. So we can go ahead and get more damage out of the Dragon Tail kick with the charges up that way. We go ahead and throw the Reaper's Toll over here, because that's actually cast Decrepify, which then would also, I'm thinking, increase your physical damage, which would then increase the fire damage from the Dragon Tail once again. We got the Fortitude over here to increase the damage on your Mercenary, so at least he's outputting even more damage there. And Darl's Visage, this is a pretty standard setup right there for the Mercenary anyway, so that's why I decided here to go with the Might Mercenary and the Reaper's Toll. Alrighty, it's that time of the video where I show you this sucker in action. Now I'll go ahead and show this just on P1 right off the bat here. Just go ahead and show you what it looks like. So we'll go ahead and fly our way out to these guys. You want to swing up, get your charges, and then you go ahead and kick. Swing, get your charges, and then kick. And you see it just blast down the entire pack. So you go swing, 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 give it a kick, nuke the whole pack. And right down here, I'll show you, you can use Cloak of Shadows and see everybody is shadowed out. So here we can go ahead and do a few kicks, do a few swings, And Shanks go ahead and go down. Let's go ahead and hit another area that I think this build works really good at, an 85 area where you can find every unique in the game. And that's right down here, a place where there's no fire immunes, the Stony Tombs. Get all battle orders up, go ahead and hit them with the Cloak of Shadows, and then you can fly over, go ahead and hit them with a few attacks, and then hit them with the kick. Fly over, hit them with a few attacks, hit them with the kick. Move on, fly over, hit them with F1 here, which is the Tiger Strike. Then hit him with the kick, the Dragon Tail. They go down. That's kind of the general pattern. Hit him with Cloak of Shadows. Get over here out of the way a little bit. Here we go. We got it up. Do the kicks, do the Dragon Strike, do the kicks, do the Dragon Strikes, do the kick. And yeah, I'd say here's an 85 area where you can find all the uniques in the game, and it works pretty good. But I mean, this is just P1, Phil. How does this go ahead and work on Players 3 difficulty? We got our set to Players 3, you see right over there. We'll go ahead and get all our pre-buffs set. Battle order up, get all our stuff out, and we'll charge out here. Hit him with the Cloak of Shadows if we could, please. Won't let it work this time, but we don't even need to. Get your charges up, go ahead and kick. He's actually immune to fire, so this one will be a little bit slower. No big deal, though. And boom, 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 and we get the whole pack ripped out. Hit these guys with the Cloak of Shadows. We can come right in and just, hey, take out Shank. No problem, just absolutely nuke. Players 3, no problem for this guy. So here we are once again down here in the Stony Tombs. We'll hit him with the Cloak of Shadows, build up some charges, and just kick the packs right down there. Do it once again, fly in, boom, get the charges up, start kicking. So yeah, I mean, even on Players 3, this is no problem down here in this 85 area. So yeah, works perfectly fine here, even on Players 3 difficulty. Let's check out the P7. So if you're on single player, that's kind of as high as you're probably going to want to have it. Now, can it even actually handle Player 7 difficulty? There we got it set. Let's get our battle orders up right here. Wow, he's chopping the stuff down before I can even get a chance. It's funny just seeing him chop everything down like that. And let's go ahead after the Eldritch Pack first. Hit him with the Cloak of Shadows. Come up here, get our charges. Kick, 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 kick. You can see it's a little bit slower. No doubt, no doubt. He's immune to fire, which is unfortunate. We'll just beat him down. Actually, we'll Dragon Tail over here because we want to get our Mercenary to go ahead and help us out, get our physical damage going a little bit better. But you can see, even though it is technically fire damage, the kick, because it does the physical damage first, and then it also applies the fire damage on top of it, even if stuff's immune to fire, you can kick it down. It is slow, but you can kick it down. Now we'll go ahead and get after Eldritch's Pack. Let's get a few swings in, get a few kicks in, get a few swings, get a few kicks in. I mean, does this look not viable? We're on Player 7 difficulty here, and yes, this is an easy area, but not viable? I'd say it's working pretty good. All right, let's see how unviable it is in this 85 area where, like I mentioned before, you can find every single unique in the game. Oh, there's 2 monsters in this room. Thanks, game. Let's go ahead and try this in a different spot, I guess, because there's not enough in here to really show it off. A little bit going on over here. Hit him with the Cloak of Shadows. Swing, swing, swing. Kick, kick. Nuke that pack. Swing, swing. Kick, kick. Nuke that pack. Come over here. Nuke them. Room's empty. Let's move on. Here's a little pack right here. Maybe this is a little bit more. There's actually a few different packs all poisoning us up. Man, that kick is so powerful with this build set up the way it is. Kinda crazy. So definitely works pretty good. And I say, hey, why don't we go ahead and try it out, at least in the Chaos Sanctuary too, a completely super common place to farm. We're test out here on the P7 Chaos Sanctuary. I went ahead and grabbed a Fire Sunday. The Venom Lords are immune to fire, so you're only dealing a little bit of physical damage from the kick, and it's just too slow on that. So let's go ahead and test her out with the Fire Sunday. See how quickly this goes on a P7 Chaos Sanctuary. So here we go ahead and go, and any of these monsters that aren't really immune to fire, you can kick them out pretty reasonably quickly here. Now here's some that are actually immune to fire, and that's where you got to go ahead and take a little bit longer. So even though you break their immunity, we don't have the Infinity on for the fire damage, but you do hit them with the Reaper's Toll, which will help you take them out a little bit faster. But you can see the speed change relative to places that this would be better at a ton. So you can definitely just solo the Chaos Sanctuary P8 with this particular build, but is this going to be the best possible thing to do? Would say probably not, but you absolutely can. So no, this build is not quite as good with the Mosiac, I suppose, but definitely more than viable.